Okay, so we wanted to talk about Joe Hendry having his own playlist on Peacock because this man is so over, not even in just wrestling. This man is going beyond wrestling. I mean, we already talked about him, the NFL player Jamal Williams, right?
Jamal Williams, yeah, on the Saints.
Singing his song before practice, and he's now just blowing up everywhere. He was even shown on Raw. He was shown on Raw, right? Like his picture was shown on Raw.
Yep, he was.
So it's like it's going beyond TNA. It's going beyond NXT. It's like he's everywhere. So I didn't know about this. He has a playlist on Peacock of like
he has a playlist on Peacock
of just Joe Hendry.
Joe Hendry, all his appearances.
Wow.
And I think some other stuff. But I'm not here to tell you about there. You go check that out for yourself. I am here to tell you that this is probably one of the most important things happening in wrestling right now. That Joe Hendry, a TNA contracted wrestler, is becoming, I would say, the equivalent to global pop sensation, but in the wrestling world, to all the world. Like you're on WWE's streaming service right now with your stuff on it. You're going viral just all over the world, essentially. People singing your song, retweeting you. And it's good for wrestling because it's just a wrestler. It's not someone that can go, oh, well, they're in WWE. Of course they're big because they're like, they can think logically that way.
It's not like The Rock having a rock concert and like everyone's like, oh my God.
And he's Hollywood. That's why he went to Hollywood and he's the biggest star in Hollywood. This is just a wrestler from Scotland who just loves wrestling and loves entertaining.
And just blew up at the right time, apparently.
Literally at the right time. You need more people like that to get eyes on your product. And by your product, I mean the industry as a whole. Because I keep telling people this in my own circle around here. No one believes me. But wrestling is going to be the most popular thing within the next few years because of the deals with TKO, what other stuff, whatever Netflix. Tony Khan's doing, the Netflix deal. AEW is doing some good stuff. Hate to admit it, obviously, on some degree, but they are trying to get a streaming deal going. I mean, TNA is turned into a legitimate contender again, blown up because of this partnership with NXT,
and a lot of it with Joe Hendry too, because Joe Hendry was becoming a bigger name even before the partnership. It's like he was bringing eyes to TNA again.
And then you now have Scott D'Amore resurrecting Maple Leaf Wrestling, which I don't know about it. I'm not going to sit here and act like an expert in it, but I know Canada and wrestling kind of go like maple syrup and waffles, so like it's so good for the industry that it just makes it that much more worth it as the fan to just sit back and you don't have to watch WWE. You can just watch anything and it's as good as whatever, you're just entertained by it.
And he's just the latest to do that, because I remember when we talked about this before and people were like, he's not the first one to do this or whatever. And it's like, no, but I think that the last time that WWE was like fully engulfed in like regular celebrity media was at the height of Total Divas, because Total Divas started to attract a whole new audience, especially women, and they were on E. That wasn't on, the WWE network. It wasn't with, if at the time they had a contract with Peacock, it wasn't like it was exclusively on Peacock. Like, no, that was bringing in like a whole different audience of people. And then that ended up becoming like the female wrestlers specifically were like going to red carpets and like doing interviews that had nothing to do with WWE. It's like, that was the last time that I can really remember it being kind of like this big of a scale. And I think, it's kind of been on this trajectory since Vince stepped down initially and Triple H took over, and like how WWE specifically has been on the rise, which is then rubbed off on the other companies, of course. So it's like, wrestling is getting where I'm not saying it's like at the same level as like what the Attitude Era was, because obviously everybody was like a wrestling fan at the Monday Night Wars, but we're getting to a point where like, it is becoming that popular. And I don't know, I think it's exciting. It's pretty
We've
cool.
evolved from telling people to suck it to telling people to believe in Joe Hendry.
Yeah.
I love wrestling.